Hey guys, welcome back to releasethecraftin. Priscilla here for day 4 of Fanguary. That is hashtag rtcfanguary. It is my week-long vampire-themed challenge where we make vampire stuff. And today's prompt is, the blood is the life. The blood is the life. So, I thought I would continue my trend of making coffin-shaped tags and busting out my distress inks to make moody backgrounds. I wanted this one to sort of match the moonlit night that I did for day 3, but then I realized that my image was like sepia colored, and so I should probably bring some of that in. So I popped some frayed burlap down as well to add some like nice grungy brown layers. They kind of fade in a little bit once everything gets all oxidized and stuff, but it's a little bit of brown, a little bit of warmth, enough that like I think it works, and it doesn't make the sepia photo like look so far out of place in the rest of the tag. It brings it all together. So little tiny subtle element makes a big difference. I hope that you guys have been enjoying the challenge. It has been so much fun so far, and as always, these little mini challenges just whip by so quickly. We are halfway through. This is the halfway mark. Halfway through this challenge. There's only a couple more days after this, and it's very bittersweet, but also, like, I'm enjoying the journey, and I hope that you guys are too. And so I decided to pop some text into the background, ink up everything really nice. We get a nice, moody background to work with, and now we get to make it fun. This guy, this picture, you guys will see at the end when I do like the close-up photo. Look at this guy really closely at the end. Doesn't he look like he could be Adam Driver's like grandpa? Because it feels like they're related. He looks like Adam Driver to me, and I spent a minute looking at it, which is why it hung out in front of the camera for so long, because I was like, wait a minute, Adam Driver just sneaking up over here. Definitely a relative. Definitely. If not actual, ageless, immortal Adam Driver. It's possible. Have you seen those photos where they like show celebrities up against like photos of antiquity and they're like same? And the one that gets me the most is the Keanu Reeves one. If you haven't seen them, Google it. It's crazy. But Keanu Reeves, ageless, immortal vampire, confirmed. And maybe now Adam Driver. But at any rate, I gotta fussy cut him out and then just use this black marker to ink around the edges to get rid of all the white lines. And then I was gonna put him on the bottom, but turns out my quote was longer than the bottom of my coffin tag, which is the dark side of using a tapered tag shape, because I didn't want it at the top, as you can see why, because the prompt was the blood is the life, and I wanted there to be blood, because in my brain, this guy was like Jonathan Harker, and, he's going to Dracula's castle, he's dealing with the brides of Dracula, so everything is bloody. And he's being exposed to blood. So I was like, okay, we're going to make this tag bloody and drippy. And I used some barn door distress spray to get the drips going. And then went over the top of that with the only close to red distress glaze that I have, which is crackling campfire, I think is what it's called. I don't want to dig through my stuff to look for it. I think that's which one I used. I'm like 98% confident that's the color I used. But at any rate, together, they make a very nice blood color, which was the effect I was going for. I think Barn Door's a little bit too dark, but with, like, the crackling campfire bit, it works out. Plus, since I'm wet embossing and not using, like, embossing ink to emboss, there's a lot of moisture underneath the ink. So as I heat it and overheat it, I'm also going to get these really interesting textures and little bubbles and sort of things like that, because there's water underneath the distress embossing glaze. And I'm struggling not to say embalming glaze, you guys. That has not left my mind. But because there's moisture underneath, because there's water underneath, as it dries, it evaporates and creates these really fun effects. That's what I'm trying to say. And then, when I put my little focal guy up there, I was like, oh, if I put him up here, you can't see any of the blood. So, we added more blood. Of course. Did I cut him down? No. More blood. And so yeah, it's relatively a simple process, but it has a very fun effect, and I really like how it came out. It definitely looks like icky, nasty blood in the background. And I think the color is spot on. Not that I've studied this, just my artistic eye says this looks like blood. And yeah, I think it's perfect. The quote that I wanted to use, I insisted on using, was a J.R.R. Tolkien quote, which says, "His old life lay in mist, dark adventure lay in front," which I think is very appropriate for Jonathan Harker. So, yeah, that worked out. And these quotes are, again, a reward over on Patreon, so if you are interested, jump over there, check it out. I gave them a bunch of vampire stuff before we did this, so you're going to see it for other people who are on my Patreon using it for this challenge. So if you want cool vampire things, it's up there. And yeah, so I came back through to add these bats, and I decided to hit them with a little bit of that silver wax, just so that they would stand out a little bit and be a little bit apart. And so I have one hanging down, I have another one in the foreground, and then one like in the midground. And I was thinking that these 3 bats could be Dracula's 3 wives, because this is Jonathan Harker. So yeah, I think it all ties together for the story that I was trying to tell. I'm very happy with how this tag came out. I love the way it looks. And come back tomorrow, see what we do for hashtag rtcfanguary, and see what everybody else is doing. Follow the hashtag, see what's up. I will catch you guys then. Happy crafting. I appreciate your faces. Goodbye.